Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to Walkabout Europe. I'm Zilla Blitz, and in this episode, we're going to do a quick catch-up on the series so far. Then we're going to quit our job. Yeah. Then we're going to look for a new job. And if all goes well, by the end of this episode, we will be newly employed, or at least be picking from a couple of clubs that I'll need your help on. So, let's jump in and get started. What is Walkabout Europe? Well, Walkabout Europe is a Football Manager 21 Journeyman save, where we try to combine fitness and Football Manager. Basically, around the end of December, I was starting to feel pretty grubby after all this kind of long pandemic and being locked up at home. I was gaining weight, wasn't sleeping well, didn't feel like I had a lot of energy, and I decided to try to do something about it. And I also wanted to start a new Football Manager series, so I tried to think how could I put these two things together and came up with the idea that we would do a Football Manager 21 Journeyman where we can only move between clubs in the game when we've walked or exercised that equivalent distance in real life. And then every time we move from club to club, we subtract the distance we've used, and then we kind of start a new circle, and those are the clubs that we can move through. So far, we've been at 2 clubs, and we're going to quit our second job today, so we're going to be looking for a third club. So that's roughly how things have progressed. Now let's jump in after the intro, take a look at a little bit more specifically how Football Manager has gone. Then we're going to do our weekly activity update that talks a little bit about how the walking and exercise has gone. Then we're going to quit our job. Then we're going to find a new job, and all this will happen in under 20 minutes, I promise. Hope you enjoy the episode. Let's jump in and start this catch-up episode with a look at how our career has gone so far. And a reminder that the goal of this is a journeyman, so the goal is to win the Champions League. I should make a qualifier. I have never won the Champions League in Football Manager, ever. So this would be a first for me if I can succeed at this journeyman. Here's our stats so far. 10's going across. I don't know how you increase goalkeeping. I did devote some of my time to helping the goalkeepers at Vöcklamarkt, but it doesn't seem to matter. That rating just doesn't seem to go up. As adaptability also looks stuck. The other ones are pretty much in the middle except for level of discipline, which has kind of risen to 20. We do have our Continental B license, and we're studying for Continental A, which means that there's only one more jump to the Continental Pro license after that. So we have had pretty good run after a slow start in picking up our licenses. As we kind of approach our end of our 4th year here, we have got 5 of the 7 licenses, is that right? But here's our job history. This is probably the most important thing. We spent 2 years at Rosic, finishing in 3rd place in the 3rd tier of Czech football and getting promoted to the 2nd tier for our 2nd season with them. We just missed out on promotion there, but did get Manager of the Year award. And of note here too, the Manager of the Year and Manager of the Month awards don't seem to be functional in the 2 tiers of Austrian football we played at, nor were they functional in the 3rd tier of Czech football. I think that custom databases, they have to kind of go intentionally set those, and it doesn't look like those were turned on there for whatever reason. Then from Rosic, you might be saying, how did Rosic do since we have left them? Let's take a quick look there. Rosic, if we look at the stages here, our last season with them, we finished, I think, 5th it was. And then the next season, they just barely survived. So this was the season before this current one. They just barely survived. They were in the relegation zone and then fought their way out of it at the end of the year. Finished in 11th place and survived. In this current season, they did the same thing. When I checked on them a little while ago, they were in 13th place. It looked like they were going to get relegated. And they won 3 of their last 5 and picked up 9 points, pulling themselves out of the relegation zone. And when I did look at them, it looks like a lot of our players are still there, which is kind of cool. So good on Rosic. I really like that club. That was fun to be a part of. Now, if we come back here to our job history, though, that brings us to our current team, which is Union Vöcklamarkt, the one that we're going to quit from momentarily. Our first season, which was in the 3rd tier of Austrian football, we finished 1st. It was our first and only title in this journeyman so far. So we got the lifted silverware there. Then this past season, we just missed out on 1st place on the last day of the season. Got 2nd place, and only the top team gets promoted. So if we were to stay with Vöcklamarkt, we would be at the 2nd tier of Austrian football once more. But that's kind of our story to date, what's gone on and what's happened. This also, like the cake, let's do a little bit now. Let's move to a little bit of an update of the activity portion of this, because we are nearing about 500 miles of exercise so far in the end of our 12th week here. So let's see how that is going, and then we'll jump back in after that, and we're going to quit our job and start a job search. So week 12 is in the books. Pretty good week this week. Back up between, I think, just a little over 70 kilometers. Got 7 walks in, 6 exercises. So more solid progress there. And a milestone, either today or tomorrow, we should hit 500 miles in the whole journey so far. So that feels pretty good. And I think later today, I'll be able to get to the gym for the first time in about 6 months too. So pretty excited about all those things physical. The disappointing thing, I think, is that I stepped on the scale this morning and it was 210 pounds, 0.6. So exactly 3 pounds less than what we started. But it really hasn't moved much since I kind of lost that 6th and put the 3 back on. It's just kind of stuck there. So, I always kind of think that the key is physical activity and then sleep and then diet. And I've really kind of got to ignoring the diet and the sleep part again. So I think this week I'm going to try to sort the sleep out, get good night's sleep each night. And then next week I'm going to really have to look at the diet and take some steps. Otherwise, it's a shame to do all this energy exercise. I feel like I'm just eating it back on, That's not being that helpful. So that's kind of the short-term goals. Really feeling pretty good about the physical stuff and feeling better, so that's really good. I really want to start to accelerate the weight loss. Otherwise, it's a lot of work and not much progress in that regard. But let's take a look at the circle as we start to look for our job hunt here. So here is where all the hard work pays off. We're heading into our third move. We can move to any club inside this circle. Now, this circle is a 340-mile radius circle, which is our 500 miles minus the 106 that we've walked in total, minus the 160 miles we used to move between our first club and our second club. So we have 340 miles to work with. And as you can see, it's a pretty good chunk of Germany, chunk of Poland here, most of Slovakia, Hungary, all of Slovenia, good portion of Croatia, good chunk of the northern half of Italy, Switzerland, just a little bit of a piece of France. We have cut into Luxembourg as well, and a vast majority of Germany. So we've got a really good amount of space to work with. I did want to mention one thing because a couple of people have mentioned, wow, I can't believe how far you walked. And it does look pretty cool. But one thing to keep in mind is that we've walked the radius of this circle, not the diameter of the circle. So we haven't walked all the way, for example, from the western edge of Switzerland to almost the eastern edge of Slovakia. We've walked half the way across the circle. So it looks a lot more impressive than it actually is. But thinking strategically for our next move, really what we'd like to do, because one of the rules of the save is that we have to move at least 5 times before we can make a run for Champions League with the club. And this will be our third move. So we still have at least 2 moves to make after that. And that's assuming they go well. I mean, things could go poorly, and it might be 5 or 6 moves or 7 moves before we finally get a club that we can make a legitimate run at the Champions League with. Having said that, I'd like our third move to be Germany, Switzerland, Italy, or that eastern portion of France. That would really put us positioned to explore some of the countries we haven't been to, potentially ending us up in someplace like England, down in Spain, maybe even Denmark on our 4th move or 5th move, Netherlands and Belgium and stuff like that. Going east back to Poland, Slovakia, or Hungary would mean that our next move really is limited to kind of Germany or Slovenia or Italy. It really kind of limits us, and it has us backtracking across the map. So my goal for this move is Germany, Switzerland, Italy, or that eastern edge of France. That's where we're heading for. And with that being said, it's time. Let's quit this job and let's start our new job hunt. Alrighty, let's do this. It's time to quit our job. Now, I did want to say one thing. So, kind of thinking about the idea that we want to go to Germany, Switzerland, or Italy. Those are our best 3 moves. I've pulled up here on the screen kind of the openings, the job status for German, Italian, and Swiss jobs. There's not a lot out there. We do have an application in for one, which is Ingolstadt in the 2nd tier of German football. They have an opening and they've accepted my application. But if we look, Bundesliga is too high. We're not going to get that. There's 2 jobs open in the Bundesliga, but I can't imagine we're going to get anywhere close to a 4-star rating yet. It's too big of a jump. I think they'll just turn us down out of hand. So I'm thinking what might be possible is the 2nd Bundesliga, because that league is 24th. That would be a pretty big jump for us too. Third level of German football is 55. That would be a nice jump for us too. And all of those should be professional and probably pretty good shape. But unfortunately, if we look through the job status for both of those leagues, it's pretty secure, pretty stable all the way through. Likewise, if we come down to Italy, there's Juventus who's open. Yeah, we're going to get that. We're definitely not going to get that. And then Salernitana, which is in Serie B, but they're in Salerno. That's too far away. Then we've got some kind of level C teams to look through. And those, I think, are a little bit below what we can get. That's 70th ranked league, and we just played in the 45th, I think it was. So, yeah, that's a little bit lower than I'd like to. Ideally, I'd like to get something Serie B would be a nice place in Italy, or at least a strong Serie C team. But we'll see how that goes. I'll put some applications in there if we're in reach. And then if we come all the way down here, there's nothing else though. Most of these jobs are secure and stuff. And if we come down here to Switzerland, there's really nothing here except for the league level 1 and this challenge league would be okay, but they're all stable and secure, and there's only like 10 teams in that level. And then the Raiffeisen Super League, where we got the offer before from Winter Tour, their job is stable right now. There's only one that's insecure, and they're going to get relegated to the next level. So if I were logically thinking about this, my general impression is the job market kind of sucks, and maybe we should stay. But let's take care of business. My contract, resign. Do you wish to resign as manager of Union Vöcklamarkt with immediate effect? Yes. Bye. Let's continue. Oh, did I break the game? There we go. Oops, sorry. Blitz steps down. I'd like to suggest blah, 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 which you follow. Yeah, we'll accept that. Baroka. Blitz steps down. Union Vöcklamarkt boss Zilla Blitz has decided to end his reign at Black Crevice Stadium by resigning from his position as manager. Union Vöcklamarkt will be now looking for a new manager. He'd surely be hard to replace. Did you hear that, Mr. Kerpel? Yeah, sells Kurznar for $44,000. Yep. So there we go. We are free and unemployed and have any work to do. I'm going to go forward now, and we'll see you in a little while. I'm going to see what kind of jobs we have, and we'll talk a little bit about those. So maybe a month or so. See you in a bit. Be instantaneous for you, but a longer time for me. We're back. It is July 21st, so about, 7-8 weeks later. I can tell you, it was pretty stressful because there weren't a lot of jobs that opened up. Found a couple of jobs at like level C of Italian football, but they weren't even good level C teams, which would have been a big drop in level. They even mentioned that in the interviews. Then he applied for a couple of Bundesliga teams, got rejected there. Juventus rejected us. Applied for a couple of teams in the third tier of German football, didn't get the jobs there. Got offered a job in the second tier of Polish football at a pretty good club, but it's over in Poland. Would have put us way on the eastern edge of our range. And I'm thinking, and it was only £950 per week, which would have been £500 less than what we're getting right now. So I thought, this is awful. And there were literally maybe 2 jobs still available at that point in time. And I was tempted to take the Polish one. And I said, no, I think we can do better. We deserve better. We shouldn't take a £500 per week pay cut. So I said, no. And then the one club that I was still hoping for, that I thought, we're not going to get that. There's no way we're going to get that. We got it. Check it out. St. Gallen. Now, if you don't know about them, I didn't. They are in the first tier of Swiss football. We are going to Switzerland. How cool is that? And check it out. They're really good. Last year, look on the right-hand side, you can see it. They finished in 3rd place. They're in the Europa League. It's amazing. Yeah, this is a real big jump up. They're actually a 3-star club with 3-star reputation. Average wage £4,600, and check out the offer. £5,000 per week. We're making almost more than 3 times what we were making in Austria. 2.7 million transfer budget, which actually seems kind of small for a team at this level. £200,000 per week professional club. They want us. So without a doubt, it's the only offer left. It's the only good one we've had, and we are taking it. So let us start negotiations here and see how this goes. Now, I don't care what happens. And even notice, take a look here. They want us to be competitive in Europa League. Raiffeisen Super League went to qualify for the UEFA Europa League, which I think is the top 3 or 4 spots, and then reach a semifinal of the cup and stuff like that. So it's going to be a lot of pressure here too. But let's start the negotiations. Contract start date, immediate. Yes, they've actually already started their season and lost their first match. 2 years. That's all good and fine. Winning, we get a bonus for that. Let's ask for 18,000, and let's go to 5.5, and then they'll say no. Let's 17.5. Let's do 5.25. Let's try that. Perfect. We got it. Nice. £5,250 per week. Finalize the deal. Exit talks. The offer has been accepted. Here we go. Welcome to Switzerland. I think. I hope. Bingo! So let's do one more thing before we end this episode. We'll come back and take on this as we go forward. I want to switch now to taking a look at how many miles it's going to burn up off our distance, right? So here is, sorry, I screwed that up. Here is, I've dropped a pin right on the middle of Vöcklamarkt's pitch, which you can see here. And then I've put into the search bar, Kaibun Park is where they play, where St. Gallen plays. So we're going to search for that. Let's go there. Come, search. Okay. Here we go. So this is our new stadium. It's got like 20,000 seats or something like that. And let's drop a pin right in the middle of that and do distance to here. Perfect. And now how far is it? And it is 198. It should tell us here somewhere. Let me turn this off. Maybe that'll help. What's the distance here? I can't see it. I'll figure this out though. It looks like, oh, here it is. 198.38, 0.39, 198.4 miles we'll take off our thing. And it puts us, if we take a look at the location, it's so cool. It puts us right in the middle, Germany, Italy, and France for our next move. So absolutely perfect spot. In any case, let's end up here with us moving towards towards Switzerland. We'll be back on Thursday with our first game with this club. We'll take a look at the club and we'll play our first match. Their season's already underway. We have like a month and a half left of the transfer budget to do some stuff with. But I am super excited. It's going to be a pressure move, though. This is a big club, so we're going to have our hands full. Anyway, thanks for stopping in and watching. If you enjoyed the episode, please give it a thumbs up. If you are new, please consider subscribing. We'll see you on Thursday for the beginning of our adventure with our third club. Take care, everybody. Have a good middle of the week.